Occupation is one of our great preoccupations. What do you do? Meaning, what's your vocation? What's your occupation? What do you do for a living? What's your major? What classes are you taking to prepare for your future occupation? What are you good at? Meaning, what skills or talents do you have that will help you prepare for a particular occupation? What do you want to be when you grow up? I wanted to be a lot of things when I grew up. Major League Baseball player. I didn't have the eyes for it. Jazz trumpeter. I didn't have the ear for it. President of the United States. I did not have the stomach for it. At some point, I came to my senses and realized I wanted to be a newspaper journalist. My dream was to work for the Washington Post. I grew up in the Watergate 1970s. My heroes were journalists. Woodward and Bernstein and Bradley and Buchwald and all the great journalists who worked for the Washington Post. To me, they were superheroes. They fought for truth, justice, and the people's right to know. Not with capes or tights or x-ray vision, although that would come in handy, but with regular glasses and questions and words. I love words. I love working with words. I love the superpower of words to help us think and feel and know and understand. Working with words for a newspaper seemed noble and fun. Working at the Washington Post, impossible. I sent the Post my resume a couple times in my late 20s and early 30s. Nothing. I didn't even get a polite form rejection letter. I never thought I'd ever get the chance to work at my dream job in my dream city. So in 2007, when the Washington Post called me and offered me that job in that city, I took it. Some people give 2 weeks notice. I barely gave 2 days notice. Seriously. I took the new job on a Friday and I left my old job and life the following Monday. I could not wait to get to Washington. If Kevin Costner had asked me, is this heaven? I would have said, no, this is the freaking Washington Post. I worked like 2 blocks from the White House. I got to spend quality time with the amazing Sally Quinn and the venerable, legendary Ben Bradley and hear their Watergate stories firsthand. I got to work alongside some of the best journalists in the world. I even got to work with Woodward and Bernstein, briefly. It's all they had time for. It's all I had time for. I realized that this was my dream job in my dream city. I had made it. I was here. But it was my occupation, not my vocation. What's the difference? Well, it's all about the words. Let's check the roots. Occupation. From the Latin occupare, meaning to take over or possess. Shares the same root as the word occupy. Makes sense, our occupation tends to occupy most of our time. Vocation, from the Latin vocare, meaning to call. Shares the same root as the word vocative. As we all remember from grammar school, the vocative case identifies the person being directly spoken to. As in, make your point, comma David. We don't have all day, comma David. Here's my point, comma audience. Vocation speaks directly to you and to me. How do we hear it? How do we know what to listen for? We're going to need some help with that. If you're trying to find the right occupation, you might consult a headhunter. If you're trying to find the right vocation, you might want to think about consulting a heart hunter. One of the wisest heart hunters I know is Frederick Buechner. He's a Presbyterian minister and writer. Buechner says we're here to find and fulfill our vocation, not to fill out job applications. Buechner says your vocation is the place where your deep gladness meets the world's deep need. The place where your deep gladness meets the world's deep need. Beautiful words. What do they mean? Let's unpack them a little bit. The world's deep need. We live in a world of infinite needs. How can you help? What work can you do that most needs to be done? A list of possibilities is endless, of course. The world needs people who can care for others and protect others, lead others and serve others, educate others and entertain others. The world needs people who can help others think and feel and know and understand. The world needs journalists. I'm a journalist. So far, so good. Number 2, your deep gladness. You have all sorts of talents and skills and abilities and interests. Which gives you the most joy? Which gives you energy, purpose, fulfillment? Which is most helpful and meaningful to you and to others? I could teach others, but I'd rather not. I don't want to work that hard. I could try to entertain others, but you'd rather me not. I love helping myself and others try to think and feel and know and more and understand more about the world. I love being a journalist. 2 for 2, still good. Number 3, where? The place where your deep gladness meets the world's deep need. Where? It's a big world. Where are you supposed to be? Where are you most connected? Where can you be most helpful? Where does your deep gladness meet the world's deep need? I really, really, really wanted my where to be Washington. It just wasn't. I grew up in Ohio. My wife, who grew up in Georgia, likes to say I'm Yankee by birth and Southern by the grace of God. I have no reason to doubt it. After we got married, we moved to Memphis. It just happened to be the biggest, closest city with an affordable university. I never intended to stay. I knew there were bigger, better places out there somewhere. I always thought I'd find one and go there. Wendell Berry, a poet and a farmer, and one of those heart hunters, could have told me otherwise. Wendell Berry wrote, "There is no better place than this, not in this world. And it's by the place we've got and our love for it and our keeping of it that this world is joined to heaven." Memphis isn't heaven. It's hot as hell, but it isn't that either. It's somewhere in between. Living in Memphis is like living with someone you dearly love and at times can't stand, who also has a chronic and possibly fatal disease. There are times of sheer joy and love and delight, moments when you are fully aware of how blessed you are to be part of that loved one's life. And there are moments of utter despair and anxiety, times when the reality of the present and the daunting task ahead come rushing back. There are times when the quirky, funky, obstinate, generous beauty and character of Memphis make you glad and proud and hopeful to be here in the capital of the Delta. And as we've heard, there are times when the chronic poverty and violence and poor health and whatnot make you fear the present and worry about the future of our soulful, doleful city. There are times when we laugh and times when we dance. There are times when we weep and times when we mourn. I never felt that way about Washington. I never felt that way in Washington. My head was there, but not my heart. My house was there, but not my home. My job was there, but not my joy. So, in 2010, I left my occupation in Washington to come back to my vocation in Memphis, where my love for words and questions can be of some use, where my love for Memphis and my keeping of it tell me there is no better place than this, where my deep gladness meets the world's deep need. Where does yours? I hope it's here. There is no better place. Thank you.